Hi guys, it's the 23rd of December and we're back here at Paul's place doing a bit more work on the Mustang, trying to get all the little bits and pieces finished off on that floor pan. We had the painter come over this morning, Chris. He sort of knows what he has to do now, so once we've got all this floor section finished, he'll be ready to start. So I have to get it finished today, because he only has the summer break to get it done. But as you can see in here, a little bit further along, I keep finding all these little pinholes popping up all over the place because the metal's so thin. I've had to put a plate in up here. I haven't ground it back yet, but the plate's in. I've got to do a little bit of knocking and a little bit of bashing around there. But it's in. That side, same there. Welded the plate in there. Paul's just gone off to get some flap discs. We don't have any flap discs at the moment. So, yeah, it makes it extremely hard to sort of finish anything off without having the right tools. But, yeah, this should all clean up. Should clean up good, as you can see. A bit of welding wire still sticking through there, but yeah, we're very close to getting all this sort of finished off in here. And so all the guards are off. Our mate Chris got here a bit earlier today than I did. Got here at 8:30 and worked out what he needs to do. And he wanted everything off so he could inspect it. That's the plug well, the panel we put in there. So that's still got to have a little bit of a clean up. Just working on all this now. Here, that was that plate that got welded in on the inside. So I'm just shaping all this now. I'm hoping to get a nice blend here. Might have to run some more weld down here. And we bought a power file to try and help us get into all the hard to get to spots for grinding. If you remember, I made up some plates for under here because all the panel work under here was all missing. So we've got the plates in, we're just grinding some stuff back there. What else? Oh, this radiator support panel. I had to straighten all this out. This was all rippled and bent. As you can see, it all flexes. We've dug out all the seam sealer, which was badly put in anyway. And I've got to weld this together. This is all separated here. I've got to plug weld that together today. I've got a couple of brackets to put on the outsides of here. If you remember in one of the early videos, I took this one off to straighten out this panel, so that's going to go back on today. And then I made one for this side just to strengthen this whole corner up, so that'll go on. You can probably see in here there's a lot of grinding debris and dust and stuff, but Paul and myself have been stuck into this with the thinners. We got all that bloody dirty body deadener off all the rails and off all the lower part of the firewall, because Paul asked for all this to be painted white, not black. This guy just shot black over everything, just made a mess of it. So we've been slowly working on trying to clean this up bit by bit by bit. So that's something I can leave him with when I go home. He can keep scrubbing away at this, and I can go home and have a beer. So at the moment, until he gets back, I can't really do anything. I can have a little bit of a tap around here, try and get some of this a bit better. I've got bows and dints and all sorts of stuff in here. Don't know what's factory, what's not, but yeah, I'll try and straighten it out a little bit. Good morning everybody, it's the 31st of December and we're back here working on the Mustang. I'm picking up on some repairs I started the other day. I needed to do a little repair, what I thought was a little repair under here. We had a little bit of rust just in this wheel tub. Only once I cut that section out I saw what I thought was a whole lot of body filler. So I started chipping away at it, thinking why would they put body filler between the two seams? And I haven't got any left to show you except for this piece that I just dug out before I turn the camera on. But they basically not replaced any of this steel, and they filled the entire gap with seam sealer. They've had an attempt to drop a dob of weld on here and one drop or one dob here, and that was it. The rest of that was body filler. So today my little task is to make a new piece for there. What I have to do is I've just marked this out. I don't know if you can see the black lines in the camera, but I need to extend this floor again to recreate this lip, and then I need to recreate the wheel tub lip, which will come right around to here. So I've marked that out on a new piece of sheet metal, and we're going to do the two repairs here and get this all looking nice. On the other side, we had a crack at this the other day. Yeah, this was all hand bent. I don't know if you can see that. This was all hand bent on a steel car rim. So we put the flange on it there, and we tech screwed it all the way in and through the flange here, and then just removed each tech screw and plug welded it. We had to put some relief cuts in here. I haven't quite finished off my welding here, but put some relief cuts in because everything's so distorted. We had massive holes here. I bent back this patch panel about a week ago to try and get all the old material out, what was still left there, and then what I've done is I've bent that back and I've welded all that in. So I just need to get the power file now and grind all that nice and smooth. But at least now the wheel tub is sealed to the quarter panel, which is what we needed. I've had a bit of a grind back here with a flap disc, try and get it all nice and level. So here was really chunky. For some reason there was like 3 layers of skins, where here there was nothing. Where the 3 layers come from I can't be 100% sure. Maybe underneath all this body deadener here they tried to put a patch panel in over the top of the existing wheel arch tub and the return here on the body, which has created the 3. But there's so much body deadener in here that you can't really see what they've done. But I've managed to pull that in as tight as I can, and we will use a bit of seam sealer, and by the time the seam sealer goes on there you won't even see the join. So cleaned out all the inside here as well, so we've got good access for water to exit. This needed to be plug welded here. This was separate from the body. What else did we do here? That's pretty much it on this side. So there is something here I'm a little concerned about. It's not a patch panel, and it doesn't seem to be this part here seems to be a rust hole, but it's actually a factory stamping. This is actually meant to be a rectangular piece, which obviously goes up to here. What it was used for, I don't know, whether it was a guide for something to go down in, but obviously nothing goes down there these days. So I'll still try and clean that up a little bit and get it looking a bit neater. Now, I'm getting too old, guys. I'll give you a look inside the car, because I know it's been a long time between videos, and I sort of got part of the work done and showed you and then didn't finish it off and blah 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 blah. So we had to end up dropping the steering column because I was at the point where I was going to cut it off with a grinder. It was getting in the way. I couldn't wear my helmet. I ended up getting flash burns in my left eye. I was trying to weld without a helmet, which I know is stupid, but when you don't have much choice, you do the best you can. So it was a matter of finding the point I needed to weld, close my eyes, and go for it. But as you can see, the floors come up pretty damn good. I still haven't welded in along here yet, and we obviously haven't seam sealed anything yet. We're going to do all the seam sealing at the one time, so we make all the mess at the same time. But all this, we actually have some shape here. We have some body lines now in the floor pan again. What we've done up here is I bought some filler, which is fiberglass compound with stainless steel shavings in it. It's quite good. They call it a metal tech filler. So we had a bit of flexing in the firewall here. Simply because, you know, at one time when this had a front end collision, it pushed the motor back, it pushed it into the firewall, it stretched the skin. They didn't shrink it when they repaired it, and we had that popping in, popping out thing. So what we've done is we've grabbed a bit of that metal tech filler, and we've smeared that all over here, just to stiffen it all up. It's going to have Dynamat over it, so you'll never see it. But that's made a hell of a difference. It stopped the popping, the flexibility. It was also a great thing to use here in this relief cut, rather than cut out a piece of steel and weld it in, because I'd already welded the this floor pan or footrest part to the original skin, and I'd already welded the transmission tunnel to that original skin as well. So it wasn't something that you could seal with the way all the floor pan sections overlap. So we needed to seal it, and using this metal fiberglass compound has been good. It's rock solid. It still sounds like steel, so it's going to be very hard for anybody to pick it up. And it's not a structural fix, it's more a cosmetic fix. You know, we've done it right. We've welded everything in. I've welded in extra plates where they needed to go, even in spots where I thought, oh, you know, we've completed it now, and then all of a sudden I blow a hole in it, and that hole becomes a bigger hole, and we took it out, you know, I cut it out, and we put a new plate in there. So so everything is solid. It's all steel in there now. You can still see, you know, there's the welds there, so we haven't tried to hide any of that. Anything that was welded, that was good. And remember, these two pieces were new sheet metal. They welded up extremely well. All here, that was new sheet metal, but welding to old metal. But we still didn't need to put any filler over it, which was good. So we're very happy with the way this floor section's come up. Still got a couple of plug welds that need grinding back here. So, but we'll go over everything. and make sure that we do like a final inspection and go around, mark everything with a felt tip marker that we're not happy with, and address those issues. The floor came out not too bad on the other side. We just welded a washer in there, and that was good enough. It was a lot easier than trying to make a round disc out of sheet metal. I didn't have a hole saw to suit that size, and but I had a washer, so we welded the washer in, and it's come up really nice on this side. You can't see anything. You'd never know there's anything in there. We've been working really hard on this firewall. Just let me climb inside here. Oh. So I'm still working on this. I'm still doing a little bit of sanding, but I've done a lot of reshaping here. This part was extremely bad. This is, like, obviously the engine sits here, but whatever's been on the back of the motor's really hit. I'd say it's hit this, push this in, which has caused this to flex. I do have a high spot there, but I can't do anything with it because somebody's attempted to weld in a backing plate behind there, and I can't get a grinder up in there to grind it out. So you know, no matter how much you tap, you can't get it out. You can't. The backing plate is stopping you from actually knocking it in. And if I do happen to push the whole thing in, then I'm going to have to put that much body filler in it, and we want to try and stay away from that. We'd rather have a little hump here, which is mostly going to be hidden by motors and air cleaners and brake boosters and stuff like that, that nobody will really take much notice of, rather than have, you know, half an inch of body filler in here. It's, well, that's my way of thinking anyway. I'd rather more steel than more body filler. So yeah, I'm still shaping it here. Got to do a little bit around here and just go over it. I've got to put a guide coat back on it again, and do some more sanding. This has come up really well. This was all punched in. If you guys remember the video that I posted probably early last week, I was going to use a slide hammer to pull this out, but in the end, even with the slide hammer, it wasn't going to be a great option. I had this over there, there's two slide hammers, one in the grey case, one in the red case. It wasn't an option. I couldn't do much with it. So what I did is I did as much bashing on the inside as I could through the two skins to try and bring it out as far as I could. And then what I did is I used that fiberglass Metal Tech filler to fill it, and most of this grey here that you see is that fiberglass Metal Tech, and then what I just used over the top of it was some fine filler. You'll see there's still some high spots, but it's so low down in the engine bay, nobody's going to pick it. This car's not a show car, it's a daily driver. Here was extremely bad. This whole section here was completely punched in. I don't know what happened. I think when it took the front impact, it obviously distorted that as well, and the guys that repaired this car in the first place didn't bother to slide hammer that out. They just left it thinking, oh, it won't be seen. Under here, there's actually the join there between the two skins. So the original skin was here, and then my new skin, or my new floor pan, is here. So we've completely covered over the transition between the two pieces, and that's nice and smooth now. We're reshaping all the bottom here because I did make up that patch panel for the corner here, and welded that in. That come up pretty good, considering that all I used to make that was the boundary fence post out there. Did a bit of shaping. We cleaned up the tunnel in here a little bit. There's a lot of factory creases, and obviously there was weld and stuff in here from you know, welding in the floor pans and stuff like that. So I wanted to clean that up because it'll be seen back here. that's not too dark, you can see my welding of the new floor pan and the extension. But if you go further back, just where the torque box is, that was done by a professional, and my welding is no worse than that professional's welding, so I'm quite happy with that, very happy with that. As you can see here, we need to seam seal along all these joints right around. We probably jumped the gun here a little bit. We cleaned up the steering box with a wire wheel, got it back to its original casting finish, and it looked absolutely immaculate. So what we did is we cleared it. We actually cleared it. Paul wanted it cleared, so we cleared it. We painted the first, say, quarter of the steering shaft on this side of the engine bay, and then once everything was dry, we pushed that back through and taped up this. This has been cleared as well. Pitman arm, Paul wanted that cleared, so we cleared that. My own choice would have been to paint it black, because it's part of all the steering components, which are all black, but it's his car, so we're going with the clear on that. But I definitely agree with the steering box. I reckon that looks absolutely bitchin', so that's good. We found a crack on this this tower here. I've welded it, but I haven't ground it back yet. And I welded it inside and outside, so hopefully that'll come up all right. Put a couple of spot welds in here just for the time being, just to sort of hold that in place. I've got to put a couple more beads in there, and there's actually a grind mark right through that, so I've got to weld that up as well. What else? We did a couple of other little patch repair and hole repair jobs. We had some really nasty elongated holes here. We don't know why they were put in there, but they were never addressed, so I welded those up, and these are the two original holes. That looks like there's an overlap there, but it's not actually an overlap. It's where some black paint, as you can see, has bled through from the other side. So we painted here. We had a bit of raw metal. See, there's the paint there. We've got all these brackets welded back on, so these are all in the right place. These have been painted in rust reverser, so that's good. We got this front panel tacked back on, or spot welded back on in the right place, so there's no flexibility in that. This is my homemade bracket, which has helped really tighten up the whole front end, which is what we needed to do. The previous panel beater had done a really nasty job with some little tab that he sort of screwed in through here and then screwed to the fender, which was not right. This probably isn't right either, but when the front of the car's been weakened, you have to reinforce some things, so we've put that in. That's a nice thick plate. It's thicker than factory, so we're never going to have an issue with that. It's not seen once the fenders go on, but it does serve its purpose and does what we need it to do. What else? What else, guys? Not much in the engine bay, to be honest. I don't think there's much else I can bring you up to date with. That's pretty much everything. That's like me rambling on for 20 minutes about stuff I've been doing over the last week. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to do a bit more work, and we'll pick up on the video a bit later. Okay guys, I finished this little job underneath the wheel arch. It's come up pretty bloody good if you ask me. Paul's pretty impressed with it, so as long as he's happy, I'm happy. But all that's been replaced and cut out there. We actually replaced what would have been the return for the floor in the boot, and we also replaced what would have been the return on the chassis. So there's 3 layers there. There's the return on the chassis, the return off the boot floor pan, and then there's the actual sheet metal here off the wheel tub. So that's all in. I actually made the join right on this ridge here, so it could be hidden, and tucked it up underneath. I don't know if we'll be able to see up underneath here. I haven't got any light with me, but it's all turned out pretty well. We're pretty happy with it. Missed a little bit of undercoat here, a little bit of rust reverser there, but it's still wet, so brush will be here somewhere. But yeah, that's come up really good. We're happy with that. And in the boot, wish I could have got some video of this before we painted it, but it's nice and clean. It's metal, now metal plate all the way down. There's no seam sealer in there whatsoever, but we still have a little trough here to be able to put the seam sealer in. We had to put a relief cut in the tub, simply just because we couldn't get the patch panels in flat enough to our liking. So we just put a little relief cut in there and then welded it back together, and it's come up pretty good, guys. We're happy with it. See if we can get some more light there. We still have to body deaden all this and seam seal it. This is just the rust reverser, this black paint. So we always put this on everything that we do before we move to the next stage. So we weren't too worried. You can see there, you know, the weld marks, a little bit of grinding. We didn't want to dig the grinding flap wheel in there too deep and thin out the metal too much, so we're quite happy to leave it like that, knowing that there's still seam sealer and body deadener to go over it. One of the other jobs I've got to do is this here. You can see where they've overlapped these. They've done an absolutely shit job, so I'm going to plug weld through there. And we're going to lop this lip off down here and get that looking clean. And we're going to do the same on this side too. So we'll plug weld the 2 pieces together, and then we'll lop that lip off. Okay guys, just done a little bit of a grind back on this left hand side rear. There was a lot of body filler here. Couldn't work out why there was so much body filler in this part. Well, it seems we still have the original line here, but when the previous beaters put this this filler patch in, like what I did on the other side, but he did it 10 times as worse. He's put no relief cuts in it, so we've got all these bulges everywhere, all these creases and bulges, and he's basically just left the flange sticking out past the original body line. So we're just going to grind that back and create a new body line there, and we shouldn't have to put any body filler in here. It's quite good. Okay, as you can see, I've removed a part of the patch panel that was put in by the previous panel beater. There's 2 skins there. Not exactly sure what's going on there. I think one part of it is the more rusted part is probably part of the original wheel tub, and then they've gone and welded another wheel tub over the top of it because it looks extremely bulky here just on the seam. So I think that's what it is. I think it's 2 wheel tubs there. So I'm going to make this a little bit cleaner, and rather than put a right angle bend on the new filler piece that I put in there, I'm just going to cut it off and weld it straight to this this old wheel tub. So you'll only see 2 lips from here. You won't actually see 3. And it needed to go, that needed to come out because he didn't take it all the way to the bottom here. So we're going to make a piece that extends all the way to the bottom. So at the moment I've just got it tech screwed in there to pull all the skins nice and tight, and when it comes time to do a little bit more welding, we'll do a little bit more cleanup here. You can see there's bits of body filler and stuff in there. We'll clean it all out, and then we'll go along, we'll plug weld all these holes up, and clean up all the mess up here that he's left in. You can see, big V groove there, and didn't even tack the corners. I had a bit of a go yesterday at putting some more decent welds on there. It's a wonder that they even held with what he put in there. He didn't put much in there at all. So yeah, we're on our way today. It'll be the last day of welding, and yeah, it can take me welder home. So this is coming up better now. Put a little bit more weld in there. Probably got to put a little bit more just here. Got a little low spot here. Just got a bridge across there, and grind that back and shape it a bit better, and we'll be right.